Okay, this is study guide for test number 8. First question we have is 13x minus 7 equals 27. You want to do the inverse of minus 7. You need to add 7. That'll cancel it out. If you add 7 on the left, you need to do the same thing on the right. What you're left with on the left is 13x equals, when you put 27 and 7 together, it gives you 34. Then it says 13 times x, since it's right next to it, so do the inverse of that, divide. You want to keep x, so divide by 13. It'll cancel out. You do the left by 13, you got to divide the right by 13. You're going to get the number x equals 2.6153, and it's going to keep going from there. We are rounding to the nearest hundredth, though, so the hundredth is the decimal, or the place that's 2 after the decimal. You look to the number that's on the right of that to determine if it goes up or if it stays the same. If it's 5 or larger, you're going to go up. So x is approximately, remember that's what that little squiggly equal sign is, 2.62. It's going to go up. That one's going to go up. Number 2, 18 minus 3x equals 5. You want to do the inverse of positive 18 or plus 18 and subtract 18. If you do it on that side, it's going to cancel it out. You got to do the same thing and subtract 18 on the right side. What you're left with here on the left is a negative 3x equals negative 13. Then you have negative 3 times x. You want to do the inverse of that and divide. You want to keep x, so divide by negative 3. If you divide the left by negative 3, you need to divide the right by negative 3. A negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, and 13 divided by 3 is 4.333. Continuing, again, we're looking for it being rounded to the nearest hundredth, so go to the second digit, or the second space after the decimal. Look to the right of that. 3 is not larger than 5, so it's going to stay, the second number is going to stay the same, and x is going to be approximately, again, 4.33. Number 3 says negative 7x plus 17 equals negative 6. Do the inverse of plus 17 and subtract 17. It'll cancel out. You subtract 17 on the left, you need to subtract it on the right. What we're left with here is negative 7x equals, now we have two negative terms, negative 6 and negative 17, so add them up, 6 and 17, and you get the number 23. It's 23. They're both negative terms, so keep it negative. Now it says negative 7 times x. Do the inverse of times and divide. You want to keep x, so divide by negative 7. Cancel out. Divide the left by negative 7. You got to divide the right by negative 7. A negative divided by negative is going to be positive, and you're going to get the number 3.2857. It's going to keep going. But again, we're interested in the nearest hundredth, so go to the second digit after the decimal. Look to the number to the right of that. It's a 5. If anytime it's 5 or greater, it's going to tell that number to go up. So x is going to be approximately 3.2, not 8 anymore, but 3.29. Okay, for number 4, you have 38 equals negative 14 plus 9x. Do the inverse of minus 14 or negative 14 by adding 14. That'll cancel them out. If you add 14 on the right side, you have to add 14 on the left side. 38 plus 14 is 52 equals, what's left over here is 9x. Now that says 52 equals 9x, or 52 equals 9 times x. Do the inverse of multiply by 9, divide by 9. You want to keep x, so divide by 9 and cancel them out. You divide by 9 on the right, you got to divide by 9 on the left, and 52 divided by 9 is 5.777. It repeats. Again, if you look at the top of the directions, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, so you want the second digit, that's the hundredth place. Look to the number that's directly to the right of that one. If it's 5 or greater, it tells you to go up. If it's less than 5, you want to leave it alone. That one, 7 is greater than 5, so 5.78 is your new number, is approximately, remember that's what approximately, x. That's rounded to the nearest hundredth. Number 5, 47 equals 28 minus 12x. This is positive 28, which means plus 28. In order to undo that, do the inverse, you subtract 28. It'll cancel out. You subtract 28 on the right, subtract 28 On the left, 47 minus 28 gives you 19 equals what's left over here is negative 12x, or negative 12 times x. Do the inverse of multiply by dividing. We want to keep x, so divide by negative 12 and it'll cancel it out. You divide the right by negative 12, you need to divide the left by negative 12, and 19 divided by negative 12, x's value is 1.5833, and it keeps going from there. Again, all we're looking for is the 100th place. So 8 is your 100th place. Look to the number directly to the right. 3 is not 5 or greater, so 8 is going to stay the same. So x is approximately 1.58, stays the same. Number 6 says 14x plus 8 equals 32. Do the inverse of plus 8, which means to subtract 8. You'll cancel it out. You do it on one side, you got to do it on the other side. What you're left with on the left is 14x equals 24, or 14 times x equals 24. Do the inverse of times 14 and divide by 14. Cancel them out, leave you with just x. Divide the left by 14, you got to divide the right by 14, and x equals 1.7142. Again, we're just interested in the hundredths place, so that's a 1. We look to the number directly to the right of it. It's not 5 or greater, so the 1 stays the same. X, again, is approximately 1.71. It stays the same. Number 7 says 358 equals 39x minus 17. Do the inverse of minus 17, add 17. That'll cancel them out. You add 17 on the right, you need to add 17 on the left side. 358 plus 17 is 375 equals what's left over here is 39x, or 39 times x. Do the inverse of multiply by 39 and divide by 39, they'll cancel. Divide the right by 39, you got to do the same thing on the left, divided by 39, and x's value, notice I'm writing it backwards, x's value equals 9.6153. Again, not interested in what comes after that. We're interested in the hundredths place. So 1, you look to the number directly to the right. 5, that number is 5 or greater, so that 2 is going to go up. That 1 is going to go up and become 2. So x is approximately 9.62. Correct answer. For number 8, we have 37 minus 58x equals 204. That's the same thing. It's a positive 37, which is the same thing as plus 37. Do the inverse of that and subtract 37. That'll cancel them. If you subtract 37 on the left, you need to do the same thing on the right. 204 minus 37 is 167. What's left over here on the left is negative 58x. Don't forget the negative. Or negative 58 times x in order to everyone greater, so x's value is approximately 0.31. It's going to go up from 0 to 1. Number 10, again, you need to distribute. 4 times negative 7x gives you negative 28x. 4 times 13 gives you 52, so it's positive or plus 52 equals 49. Do the inverse of plus 52, subtract 52, and that'll cancel them. Subtract 52 from the right side. If you do it from the left, what we're left with over here is negative 28x equals 49 minus 52 is negative 3. So now negative 28x or negative 28 times x, do the inverse of multiply and divide. You want to keep x, so divide by negative 28. That'll cancel them out. If you divide the left by negative 28, you got to divide the right by negative 28. A negative divided by a negative is going to be positive, and x's value is going to equal 0.1071, and it's going to continue. Again, we're only interested in the hundredths place. That's this 0 here. Look to the number that's directly to the right of that 0. It's 7. That means it's greater than 5 or equal to 5. So x is approximately 0.11. Goes up to 0.11. Number 11 says 2 times negative 5x plus 7. Again, you need to distribute. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10x. And 2 times 7 is positive 14 or plus 14 equals negative x. Now we have x's on both sides of the parentheses. You need to make sure they're on the same side of the parentheses. Same as minus 10x, do the inverse and add 10x, and they'll cancel. You add 10x on the left side, you got to add 10x on the right side. So what we're left with on the left is 14 equals, we have negative x or negative 1x, if you need to look at it that way, plus 10x. Opposite terms, one's negative, one's positive, so you need to subtract them. 10 minus 1 is going to give you 9x, and 10 is farther away from 0. 10 is a positive number, so it's going to stay a positive 9. So now you have 14x, 14 equals 9x, or 14 equals 9 times x. Do the inverse and divide by 9 to cancel them out and leave you with just x. If you divide the right by 9, you got to divide the left by 9, and x equals 1.555, and it repeats. Again, we're only interested in the hundredth place. That's what we're rounding to. That's that second 5. Look directly to the right. That's 5 or greater. So x's value is going to be approximately 1.56. Number 12. If you need to write in a 1 between the negative and the parentheses, it may help you. It's not necessary, however. That tells you to distribute that negative number, or in that case, that negative 1 times both things inside the parentheses. Negative 1 times positive x will give you negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 3 gives you plus or positive 3. Equals, we need to distribute this 2 as well. 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times 1 is positive 2. So now we have negative x plus 3 equals 6x plus 2. We want to put our x's all on the same side. This says negative x on the left, which means minus x. Do the inverse of that and add x. That'll cancel them. If you add x to the right, you need to add x to the left. If you did it to the left, you need to do it to the right. That's the same thing as adding 1x, which gives you 7x. Plus 2 equals, we still have 3 over here. So 3 equals 7x plus 2. Undo plus 2 by subtracting 2. Cancel them out. Subtract 2 on the left gives you 1 equals 7x. 7 times x, divide by 7. They'll cancel out. Divide the left side by 7. And x's value is going to equal 0.166. It repeats itself. The second number, you want to look to the right of the second number. It's greater than 5. So x is approximately 0.17 to the nearest hundredth.